Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, the Already Ophthalmic Society and the Scientific Committee, for me being part of this subspecialty day on uveitis. So already, as Dr. Anuradha has already mentioned, the definitions and terminology in anterior uveitis is mainly based on the course of the disease, the clinical appearance, the etiology. The clinical course already has been told by Dr. Anuradha. So in the clinical appearance, you have granulomatous or a non-granulomatous, and based on the etiology is infectious or non-infectious. So all this recognition of ocular findings and diagnostic clues in anterior uveitis is mainly essential to identify a specific ocular and systemic conditions. Now, the codes have already been explained, so I won't go into it. Now, coming to the anterior uveitis, the main thing, the symptoms, what are the patient presents with? Their pain, photophobia, watery, blurred vision, or floaters. The signs of anterior, the terminology of anterior uveitis is mainly based on the signs what you find in anterior uveitis, what you find on the conjunctiva, the cornea, the anterior chamber, on the iris, and the lens. These are all, they all give the telltale signs of what the patient has. So coming to each of them, the first is the ciliary congestion. So normally what you find in anterior uveitis is the circumcorneal congestion. The most specific to the bulbar conjunctiva and not to the palpebral conjunctiva. So that gives a clue you're dealing with a case of anterior uveitis and may not be a viral conjunctivitis. The next comes on the cornea. So you have the keratic precipitate, which is very characteristic of any uveitis. So the keratic precipitates, mainly you depend on the clinical appearance, the morphology and distributions. And these are the inflammatory cellular deposits on the corneal endothelium. So you have a variety of keratic precipitates. You can have a fine keratic precipitates or a larger mutton fat KPs or a colored or pigmented. So these are actually accumulation of lymphoplasmacytic inflammatory cells with epithelioid cells. So these are the various keratic precipitates with different clinical appearance and morphology, which gives a clue to the diagnosis of the condition, and you don't have to do an extensive workup for this case of anterior uveitis. Now we'll go to each one. So this is a case where you have a circumcorneal congestion. You have a creamy white, fluffy, ill-defined margins keratic precipitate seen on the lower part of the corneal endothelium, typical of the distribution of the arch triangle, which is an inverted triangle, which is characteristic or a non-granulomatous anterior uveitis. So based on this, you need to investigate this patient. So coming to the granulomatous variety of the uveitis, you have different granulomatous. It could be a microgranulomatous, it could be medium sized, or it could be large. Coming to the medium sized granulomatous KPs, they are white, round, and creamy, and sometimes they are always associated with posterior synechial and intense anterior chamber reaction. The other morphological pattern is a large, greasy mutton fat KPs, which you find in the granulomatous uveitis, which could be either sarcoidosis or tuberculosis, most common conditions. So this is how do you differentiate between active and a resolving kind of uveitis. So in active, you have a large, greasy mutton fat KPs, whereas in case of a healed one at the resolving stage, they become crenated. So this large mutton fat KPs may completely disappear or they become pigmented. There's another case where you have a corneal edema. You can see the corneal edema here. You have a KPs in the lower part of the pigmented keratic precipitates endothelium. You have an iris atrophy. So this gives a clue this could be dealing with a viral keratitis, viral uveitis. There's another case where you have a corneal. Some of the patients with viral uveitis, you may not have a corneal or a dermatomal involvement. Here you have a corneal involvement, you have an endothelitis with a focal KPs and a reduced corneal sensation. So you know you're dealing with a case of viral keratouveitis. So all this anterior segment finding, the terminology to help us to clue to the diagnosis of the condition. There's again a case where you have a pigmented KPs with diffuse distribution, well defined, and they're created margins, but they're pigmented. The another case where you have to look at both the eyes, you can see the iris color, you have a heterochromia of the iris, you have a fine white stellate KPs. Is the only condition where your KPs are distributed evenly all over the corneal endothelium, but there's no posterior synechial. So this is characteristic of Fuchs uveitis syndrome. And the same patient, they usually have a complicated cataract, is undergone a cataract surgery in this patient. Coming to the anterior chambers, mainly aqueous cells and flare. Already Dr. Anuradha has told about the grading. And flare does not necessarily indicate active inflammation. So the inflammation in the anterior chamber could be serous, fibrinous, or hemorrhagic. So this is a case of a severe fibrinous anterior uveitis where you have a circumcorneal congestion, you have a fibrinous membrane in the anterior chamber, and you have a hypopyon. So severe fibrinous reaction in the anterior chamber could, could be a case of a HLA-B27 related uveitis or Behçet's. One more thing, when you look at the hypopion is it's mobile or immobile. In case of HLA-B27, they're sticky, so they're not mobile. They'll be in HLA-B27, they're sticky, so they're not mobile. Whereas in case of Behçet's, they're mobile. So this is again in a case of fibrinous anterior uveitis. The important thing when you have a fibrinous reaction, always differentiate masquerade syndrome where you have a white hypopion. So you need to differentiate from a suppurative or you differentiate from a fibrinous uveitis. The masquerade has to be ruled out when you have a hypopion and an infective etiology. So this is a case on treating with the topical steroids. You can see the contracting membrane. The different other terminologies are fibrinous membrane and an occlusio pupillae in case of an anterior uveitis. So coming to the iris, you can have a Koppes nodules, which are normally seen on the pupillary margin, and a Bosaka, which is seen in the iris stroma. So these are all characteristic of a granulomatous uveitis. And even you can have the granulomas, the nodules on the trabecular meshwork, which is called as a Berlin's nodules, which is characteristic of sarcoidosis. The other changes in the iris is the atrophy. You can have a segmental or a focal iris atrophy, or you can have diffuse iris atrophy, which is characteristic of a viral uveitis. So coming to chronic uveitis, what are the terminologies? The important is a broken synechia, which characterizes that patient had a recurrent attack or a persistent uveitis. You can have pigment on the lens. You can have a posterior synechia, which could be broad-based or a dented. There's a festoon pupil. The important terminology is posterior synechia and anterior synechia in case of an anterior uveitis. And in case of a chronic, you can have an occlusio pupillae, peripheral anterior synechia. You can have shallow AC, loss of iris pattern, and a posterior synechia 360 degrees suggestive of seclusia pupillae. And in chronic cases, you can have a lens vascularization with a complicated cataract. The important is you should always differentiate it from phacolytic glaucoma, other infective or any other etiology. Look at the cataract. You can see a hypomature Morgagnian cataract, so you're dealing with a phacolytic glaucoma. The 47-year-old female presented with redness photophobia, increased corneal edema with increase in pressure and pigmented capes. You can see the iris changes taking place here, which is suggestive of a viral keratitis. So in summary, terminology is important to know the course of the disease, the lateral etiology, and always the definition and terminology will help us in diagnosis. And even you can make a tailor-made laboratory test in this kind of cases by looking at the anterior segment and finding out what are the characteristic of keratic precipitate, anterior chamber reaction, looking at the cornea and the lens.